Welcome to this week's live broadcast. I'm Athena, the Get Notice coach, career coach and government job application specialist. In the spirit of reconciliation, I acknowledge the traditional custodians of country throughout Australia and their connections to land, sea and community. I pay respect to their elders, past and present, and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples today. This week I'm coming live to you to talk about the two most important things you need to do before you write your senior public service resume. Now, you see, I've recently had people come to me to prepare their resume or CV in preparation for their job search, and this issue's come up a little bit. So I wanted to address it in today's live. Now, I'm not the type of career advisor that will necessarily always give you the advice that you want to hear. I always want to give people the advice that is best for the person that comes to me, especially when it comes to crafting your CV. Now, if you don't possess these two things that I'm going to talk to you about when you engage me as your writer, or you don't have these things done when you're about to write your own documents, especially if you keep getting rejected or getting ghosted when you apply for roles, then if you're coming to me, I will ask you to either work on these two things and come back to me when you have them before I write your documents, or you need to sort some of these things out before you write your own CV, because they're really crucial to landing an interview. Now, as I said, I will, ask you to go away and figure out at least one of these things before you come to me to get your CV written. And if you can't, then I will make a suggestion that you need to get some career coaching in order to expedite the process and uncover what these two things are that you need to do before you need to write your resume. So what are these two things you need to do before you write your resume? Now, firstly, you need clarity. Now, you need clarity for a number of reasons. You need it because you need to be clear about why you're seeking your next role. When you're looking for senior positions in particular, why are you seeking senior positions? What is your purpose? What is the reason that you want that next role? And it's especially important if you're changing careers, particularly because you might need to explain why the change. So you need to know why you're moving, and you need to be able to know how you're going to articulate that in your CV or in your job application documents, or even at the interview. And it may even be important to be clear why you want your next role, particularly if you've had short stints between roles, because you may need to explain that as well. You also need to be clear about the role you're seeking in particular. If you are not sure about the role that you want and you start writing a resume that catches all, as we say, you're probably finding that if you started that job seeking process, you're getting rejected or ghosted. And don't think that if you write a catch-all type resume that you'll catch all. In fact, you'll actually do the opposite. The more you try to broaden and be vague in your CV about what job you want, the less likely you're going to attract the employer that you want or the role that you want. It's actually better to tailor and target your document to a very specific industry or niche or expertise that you have, so that you become the only choice for that role when you apply. So if you don't know what role you're seeking or in what industry or what field, then you won't know what to write. It will be a lot harder to write when you're trying to write about everything, okay? You will need that clarity, because you will need to know what to write, what keywords to include from that industry or field. And being clear about your destination means you're likely to get there sooner. You also need to be clear about why you want to work in a particular organization. So it might be important to be clear about this, because the more you target and tailor your information to a type of organization, the more likely you'll be responding to the outcomes that they're seeking with the person they want to employ. Now, the second thing you need to have done before you write your resume is research. Now, I see so many people missing this step and thinking that it's not super important, or really glossing over research. And as a result, they completely miss their target when they apply for roles. So again, your CV comes across as really generic and not targeted to the role that you're applying for when you don't do your research and you don't know enough about the organization or enough about the role or the problems they're having and the reason that role is there in the first place. Now, if you don't have a role to apply for at this point, you can still do some research, particularly if you are clear about your why and which industry and which field you want to be in. You can still do some research about that overall industry and field, and then you can do more specific research once you've found that role. But it's really important to know what you're targeting and what problem you're actually solving, and you're not going to know that without knowing what's going on in your field of expertise. So if you want to be ready when you see your dream role, and you haven't, but you want to write a CV beforehand, that's fine. But you'll need to be clear about the role that you want, where you might want to work, and then you can still do, as I said, research beforehand and incorporate that knowledge that you find in the form of your achievements and outcomes you'd like to provide that next dream employer. Now, what does research entail? Well, it could be research on the organization, on the role, some keywords. It might be words that you use in the industry or field that you're seeking work in. And it could be just to understand what employers are looking for right now. So, for example, I know that many public service organizations are going through transformation right now. So what research could you incorporate into your documents that might be around that, where you might be helpful to them? Now, at more senior levels, it's vital to be clear about your purpose, your expertise, and the organisation you want to work for in order to not only apply for the roles you really want, but also important if you want to be headhunted for roles. Because when all that's clear, it's much easier. And you can only do this with tailored and targeted applications that are clear about what you want, and that you've shown you've done your research to that and the role that you actually do want, because you're clear about it. So they're the two most important things you need to have before you write your CV, and that is clarity and research. Okay, so if you're ready to write your CV and need a little help with some structure and tips, you can download my free interview winning resume template below to assist you. And I'll pop that down in the comments for you. And you can download that at any time, or if you're having any issues with that, you're more than welcome to send me a message. Now, if you're not confident in articulating your brilliance, or you don't have the time to do it, because often as senior people in our work, sometimes we don't have time, and we'd rather outsource it. If you would prefer a done-for-you service with me, then you're most welcome to send me a message or check out my services on my website at www.thegetnoticecoach.com. That's all I have for you today. I hope you're enjoying today. Another brilliant day. Thursdays just seems to be the day for sunshine here in Melbourne. So I'm really happy that it's sunny again today. I hope you're all having a great day, and I'll see you all next week. Bye.